All right, so today's deep dive, well, it's a journey that could shape your future, literally. We're going to be looking at postgraduate training, not just anywhere, but at the National Center for Asbestos-Related Diseases, NCARD. NCARD, yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? I think most people, when they hear asbestos, they think of the dangers,
Yeah.
the diseases,
Yeah.
but NCARD flips that on its head,
Yeah.
They're all about solutions, and
Oh.
particularly through training,
Yeah.
the next wave of researchers.
Exactly. It's not just about studying the problem, it's about being part of the solution. And NCARD is uniquely positioned for this. They're in Western Australia, a region sadly known for having the world's highest rate of asbestos-related cancers. So they're right at the heart of the issue, which makes their work all the more impactful.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
that's what really jumps out from their materials. They're not just doing
Yeah.
research in a vacuum. They're deeply connected to the
Yeah.
real-world implications of what they're doing.
Okay, so let's dive into what they offer to aspiring researchers. Their student flyer shouts out 5 reasons to study with NCARD, and I've got to say, they make a compelling case. Yeah, they do. That first one is a real attention grabber. Being part of the top mesothelioma research group in the world. That's a bold statement, but they seem to back it up.
It makes you wonder, what is the secret sauce? Is it the funding,
Mm.
the collaborative environment,
Yeah.
or maybe something about the Western Australian spirit?
Well, they
No.
do highlight generous top-ups aligned to first publications as a second reason, which is a pretty sweet deal for a postgraduate student. It's not just the scholarship, but your publications directly impact your financial support.
It's a really interesting model. It incentivizes quality research and publication, which benefits both the student and NCRD's overall research goals. But I'm curious about the environment. Is it all about individual achievement, or do they foster a sense of collaboration?
They seem to really emphasize teamwork. They have a PhD hour where students can present their work and get feedback, and a journal club where the whole research team discusses the latest papers.
That's a really good sign. It suggests a culture of learning and knowledge sharing, which is crucial, especially in a complex field like asbestos-related diseases.
And it's not just about the science happening in the lab. The flyer also emphasizes working with consumers and advocacy groups, which adds a whole other dimension.
Now, that's something I really want to dig into deeper. How do they actually involve patients and advocacy groups in their research? What impact does that have on the research itself?
That's a really good question, and it speaks to that real-world focus we were talking about. Maybe we can uncover that as we explore further.
Definitely. But before we go there, I think it's worth hearing from current students. After all, they're the ones living and breathing the NCARD experience.
Absolutely. Those student testimonials are a goldmine of insights. It's one thing to read the official material, but to hear firsthand accounts from people in the trenches, so to speak.
One honors student, Fazan Sheikh, he talks about the strong peer support network. He mentions the diverse group of students at different stages in their research journey. That sounds like a great way to learn from each other and avoid feeling isolated during those challenging postgraduate years.
It does, and that resonates with what they said about the PhD hour. It seems like they've built a system where collaboration and peer learning are baked into the experience.
Then there's Jess Bolter, a PhD student, who highlights the corporate knowledge shared by senior students, helping avoid those research dead ends. It seems like a strong sense of mentorship and a culture of passing on knowledge.
That's so valuable in a field like this, where the research can be so complex. It can save students so much time and frustration by learning from those who've already navigated those tricky paths.
And it's not just for Australian students. Liza Roscoe Morales, a PhD student from overseas, raves about the support she's received from supervisors and the friendships she's formed with colleagues. She calls NCARD a great place to be.
That's reassuring to hear, especially for international students. Starting a postgraduate program in a new country can be daunting, so having that kind of support system can make a world of difference.
It seems like they've created an environment that's both intellectually stimulating and personally supportive, which is a winning combination in my book.
I agree. They're not just churning out researchers. They're nurturing well-rounded individuals who are passionate about making a difference.
Another student, who remains unnamed, talks about having access to a well-run lab with experienced scientists, always willing to offer guidance. They also highlight the many different working relationships with other teams, both within the building and at other centers.
It sounds like they've created a real hub for collaborative research, breaking down those traditional silos and fostering connections across disciplines.
And that's reflected in their diverse range of research areas. Their website lists 7 key areas. And wow, they cover a lot of ground. Biomarkers and biobank, bioinformatics and systems biology, genomics, imaging, mouse models, novel therapies, and tumor immunology.
It's quite comprehensive, isn't it? They're tackling the problem from multiple angles, from understanding the basic biology to developing new treatments and improving patient care.
So, for someone considering postgraduate training at NCRD, the choice isn't just about where, but what. What specific area of research speaks to them? Where can they make the biggest impact?
It's a great problem to have. And I think that's a perfect segue into our next section. Let's delve into these research areas and see what they're all about. All right, so let's unravel these research areas a bit, starting with biomarkers and biobank. NCARD has this vast collection of biological samples and data from patients, which is like a treasure trove for researchers.
It is. It's like having a window into the disease process.
Yeah.
Researchers can use this biobank to study how asbestos-related diseases develop and progress, and maybe even find biomarkers for early diagnosis. Man, it's catching these diseases early before they become life-threatening.
That's the dream, isn't it? Early diagnosis often means more treatment options and better outcomes.
Exactly. Now on to bioinformatics and systems biology. That's where things get really high-tech. It's all about using computational tools to analyze vast amounts of data, to find patterns and connections that would be impossible to see with the naked eye.
It's like having a super-powered microscope that can zoom in and out, revealing the intricate workings of these diseases at a molecular level.
I like that analogy. And speaking of intricate workings, genomics is all about analyzing the genetic makeup of tumors, looking for those tiny variations that can drive cancer development.
Genomics is a game changer. It allows researchers to identify specific targets for therapy, paving the way for more personalized and effective treatment.
Yeah, it's like having a personalized blueprint for each patient's cancer, guiding treatment decisions based on their unique genetic profile. And then we have imaging, which is crucial for diagnosis, monitoring disease progression, and assessing how well treatments are working.
Yeah, and imaging techniques are constantly evolving, and NCIRD is at the forefront, developing new and improved ways to visualize these diseases, giving clinicians more information to make the best decisions for their patients.
It's amazing how technology is transforming healthcare. And speaking of transforming healthcare, mouse models allow researchers to study these diseases in a controlled environment. It's like having a mini laboratory within a living organism.
Yeah, mouse models are essential for preclinical research. They allow scientists to test new drugs and therapies before moving on to human trials, making sure that they're safe and effective. It's a really critical step in the drug development process.
It's all about laying the groundwork for those breakthroughs that can ultimately save lives. And then there's novel therapies. That's where the real excitement lies. NCARD is actively developing new treatment approaches, from targeted drug therapies to immunotherapy, which is incredibly promising.
Yeah, immunotherapy is really revolutionizing cancer treatment. Instead of attacking the cancer cells directly, it harnesses the power of the immune system to fight the disease. And NCARD is a leader in this field, developing new immunotherapies that could change the game for patients with asbestos-related diseases.
And lastly, tumor immunology, which focuses on the complex interplay between the immune system and cancer. This field is exploding with new discoveries, and NCARD is right there on the cutting edge, exploring how we can manipulate the immune system to fight these diseases more effectively.
It's such a fascinating area of research with incredible potential. Imagine boosting the body's own defenses to target and destroy cancer cells. That's the power of tumor immunology.
It is mind-blowing. So we've got this incredible range of research areas, but let's get down to brass tacks. What are some specific projects that students could actually get involved in? Because it's one thing to talk about broad areas. It's another to picture yourself working on something tangible.
You're absolutely right. Let's dive into some of the current projects highlighted on their website. One that caught my eye is cancer immunotherapy using immune checkpoint inhibitors.
Oh, yeah, I read about that one. It involves combining immune checkpoint inhibitors, or ICIs, with radiotherapy. And they're seeing some really promising results. Preclinical studies.
It is fascinating how they're combining these two approaches. Radiotherapy not only kills cancer cells directly, but it can also trigger an immune response that makes the tumor more vulnerable to attack by the ICIs. It's like a 1-2 punch against cancer.
And they're not stopping there. They're aiming to translate these findings into a clinical trial, which means this research could directly impact patients in the near future. Real-world impact in action.
Absolutely. And speaking of real-world impact, there's another project focused on copper-binding drugs. It turns out that copper accumulates in mesothelioma tumors. and is essential for their growth.
So they're basically trying to starve these tumors of copper,
Yeah.
using drugs that are already approved
Yeah.
for other conditions. It's a clever strategy. Repurposing existing drugs for new therapeutic applications.
It is. It's a brilliant example of thinking outside the box. And because these drugs are already clinically approved, it could potentially speed up the process of getting them to patients who need them.
And for those who love the computational side of things, NCRD has two intriguing bioinformatics projects. One is focused on developing a pipeline for accurate neoantigen detection.
Neoantigens are like red flags for the immune system, marking cancer cells for destruction. But identifying them is a complex process that requires sophisticated computational tools.
Exactly. And this project is all about developing a streamlined and automated pipeline to accurately predict neoantigens from sequencing data. Imagine the possibilities for personalized immunotherapy.
It's about harnessing the power of big data and computational biology to create more precise and effective cancer treatments.
And the second bioinformatics project is focused on identifying gene fusions, which are abnormal gene combinations that can play a significant role in cancer development.
Right. They're developing a new computational tool that can quickly and accurately detect these fusions, which could provide valuable insights into cancer biology and potential therapeutic targets.
It's like having a powerful search engine that can sift through mountains of genetic data to find those critical clues that could unlock new treatment strategies.
These bioinformatics projects really highlight NZ's commitment to embracing cutting-edge technology and pushing the boundaries of what's possible in cancer research.
It's clear that NCARD is a hub for innovation, with a diverse range of projects that cater to different interests and skill sets. But let's be practical. Postgraduate studies require funding. What kind of support does NCARD offer to aspiring researchers?
That's a crucial question, and NCARD seems to recognize that. Financial stability is key for students to really focus on their research. They have a whole section on their website outlining various scholarships that are available.
Let's start with the one that's specifically for mesothelioma research, the Douglas Peter Swift Top-Up Scholarship.
Oh yeah, that's a wonderful way to honor a patient while supporting research. That could ultimately benefit others facing the same disease. This scholarship provides additional funding on top of a student's existing living allowance, easing that financial burden and allowing them to fully dedicate themselves to their research.
It's a great example of how philanthropy can directly impact scientific progress. And then there's that publication bonus system we mentioned earlier, which rewards students financially based on their publication output.
Yeah, it's a really unique system that incentivizes high-quality research and recognizes the importance of disseminating those research findings. It's a win-win for both the students and NCARD.
And beyond these NCARD-specific scholarships, they also list other funding avenues, like UWA scholarships, government grants, and even short-term scholarships for undergrads.
It's encouraging to see that they're committed to supporting students in exploring all available funding options, making sure they have the resources to pursue their research dreams.
But funding is just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
NCARD also offers a supportive and enriching environment that extends beyond the lab.
Absolutely. They have initiatives like the Kindness in Science team, which fosters a culture of well-being and support within the research community. It's not just about the science, it's about creating a positive and nurturing environment where students can truly thrive.
It sounds like they really are putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to supporting students. But let's zoom out for a sec and remember the big picture. Asbestos-related diseases, they aren't just a Western Australian problem. They're a global issue.
Yeah, I mean, the World Health Organization estimates that over 100,000 people die each year from asbestos-related diseases. It's a silent epidemic that continues to affect people around the world.
And that's what makes postgraduate training at NCARD so compelling. It's not just about advancing your own career. It's about contributing to a global effort to combat these devastating diseases.
Yeah, you're part of something much bigger than yourself, using your skills and knowledge to make a real difference in the lives of those affected by these diseases all over the world.
And that brings us to a thought-provoking question for you, our listener. What role could you play in this global effort? What unique skills or perspectives could you bring to the table?
It's a good question. Imagine yourself working alongside those leading researchers, tackling some of the most challenging questions in this field. You could be in the lab, unraveling the mysteries of cancer biology, or developing cutting-edge therapies that could change the course of these diseases.
Or you could be working on the computational side, crunching data, developing algorithms,
Yeah.
finding those hidden patterns that could lead to breakthroughs.
The possibilities are vast, and the impact you could make is immeasurable. But it all starts with taking that first step, exploring the options, and finding the path that resonates with your passions and aspirations.
If you're listening to this and feeling that spark of interest, that desire to make a difference, then NCARD might just be the perfect place for you to launch your research career.
They're looking for talented, dedicated individuals who are passionate about tackling these challenging diseases.
And who knows, you might be the one to make that groundbreaking discovery, that game-changing breakthrough that improves the lives of countless people around the world.
The future of this field depends on passionate, driven researchers like you. So take that leap of faith, explore the possibilities, and see where your journey takes you.
We've only scratched the surface of what NCARD has to offer. We encourage you to visit their website, delve into the research areas, and reach out to them directly.
They are a very welcoming and supportive community, always eager to connect with potential students.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into postgraduate opportunities at NCARD. We hope this episode has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to consider joining the fight against asbestos-related diseases.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.